Hey there, kids. Welcome to another math lesson. This is for grade 5 Eureka Math, Module 4, Lesson 24 homework. If you are tuning in because you looked at this and went, oh my gosh, this is totally scary, you are right, and good job for tuning in. It really is kind of a huge, difficult lesson for most people, so we're just going to go through it together. The objective is at the bottom of the page. Solve word problems using fraction and decimal multiplication. It's a big challenge, so good luck to us. Hopefully I won't make any mistakes in this one take video. All right. Oh, by the way, click subscribe and come back again if this is helpful and or entertaining. Okay, Jesse takes his dog and cat for their annual vet visit. Jesse's dog weighs 23 pounds. The vet tells him his cat's weight is 5/8 as much as his dog's weight there. How much does his cat weigh? So we're going to set this up. You can use any tool that you have. You can use a tape diagram. You can do a fraction of a number. At this point, I tend to go straight for the fraction of a number because they're telling us it's 5/8 of 23 pounds. You could also do 23 pounds into 8 pieces. And then you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And so we're trying to figure out this piece, okay? So setting this up, 5 times 23 over 8. And you can move anything around if it helps you and or just leave it like it is if it doesn't help you. 8 is not compatible with either 5 or 23, so we're going to have to multiply across. So these numbers today are going to be kind of big. 5 times 3 is 15, carry 1, and then this is 10 plus 1, 11 over 8. So if I need to do big division, just set it up and use your long division skills. Hopefully you didn't forget how to do it. If you did, you can always set up your division family. Divide, multiply, subtract, compare, bring down. Sometimes you have to do it more than one time. 8 fits into 11 one time, and this is going to be in the tens place. Make sure your 1 is over the 1 that's next to the 5 in the ones place, so the tens place. 1 times 8, 8. Do the subtraction, 8, 9, 10, 11. Bring down the 5. Now multiply, find the missing factor here because we're dividing 35 by 8. 8 times 4 is 32. And on this, because we're trying to figure out exactly what it is, when we do our subtraction, instead of putting 14 and 3/8 pounds, what you should do is annex a 0 and keep on dividing so that we can find exactly what the cat weighs. So we have 30 tenths divided by 8, but that is not going to be exact either because we know 4 times 8 is 32, but we can't go over it, so we got to go down to 3. 24. 6 are left. Annex another 0, divide again. 7 times 8. Hold on one quick sec. La 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 la. La la. Just checking my math. And gonna keep going. 4. Sorry, I don't want to make a mistake and then have to go back and erase the whole thing. Annex another 0. Like, make sure I do it right. I don't have anybody here saying, hey, you did that wrong, if I make a mistake. All right, so we do end up with 14 and 375 thousandths pounds, to be exact, instead of 3/8. So the cat weighs 14.375 pounds. You can also put 14 and 3/8, which is where we would have stopped if we had ended right here in the ones place. Okay? So anyway, that's why I know these are going to be kind of scary because doing multiple stage long division and annexing 3 zeros is not the favorite of the 5th graders. Okay, moving right along. An image of a snowflake is 1 and 8 tenths, 18 tenths centimeters wide. If the actual snowflake is 1/8 the size of the image, what is the width of the actual? So we're trying to find the actual, which is 1/8 of 1.8. So we're working with fractions and decimals. But don't worry. 1 and 8 tenths also can equal a mixed number. A mixed number can equal an improper fraction, and you can then multiply, if you remember how to do it. 10 times 1, because this is really 10 tenths. 10 times 1 is 10, plus 8, 18. When you have your fractions, I am going to strongly encourage you, I'm going to insist, that you simplify before you multiply today. You really have to, otherwise you're ending up with super large numbers in some of the later problems. If you have even numbers, you can always reduce, okay? You can divide by 2. I could take 18 tenths and divide by 2, or I can cross cancel and divide by 2. It does not matter what you're simplifying with, just choose one. If I divide cross-canceling wise, 8 divided by 2 is 4. 18 divided by 2 is 9. It's nice to leave the tens. The tens are almost kind of helpful. Ooh, I put a division sign. Why? And then multiply across. Now, every fraction is a division problem. Remember, if you want to get a decimal, and I love doing this, 9 divided by 40 is what we're doing here. So remember, every fraction, this is why we do scores in fraction form in my classroom, because you can always figure out your decimal, which then leads to the percent. It doesn't matter if your number is smaller than your divisor, we're going to annex a decimal and zeros and proceed. So if I have 90, it is not going to be divisible in the ones place, 9 by 40. So we're going to move on over here and pick 2, because 2 40s would be 80 tenths. Subtract, annex a 0, extend, divide. 40 will fit into 100 2 times again. This time we have a little bit more left over, but we know with the 2, that's going to create a 20. Okay, so 200 divided by 40 is going to be 5. Multiply. Finish with the 0. Hello, Bob. And so we have 225 thousandths, what? Centimeters. And label everything the actual snowflake is. And when you think about it, like that's about right, because they're very, very tiny. Circle, label, move on. Hopefully your homework is all done and you're just checking your work, but I realize that these are very challenging, so you might just be kind of following along. I hope you are also listening to me bumble and wait for this to focus. Okay, it's going to come into focus. I just know it anytime. Here we go. A community bike ride offers a short 5 7/10 mile ride for children and families. The short ride is followed by a long ride, which is 5 2/3 times as long as the short ride, which is this long. Now, the longer one is for adults. If a woman bikes the short ride with her children and then the long ride with her friends, how many miles does she ride altogether? It's kind of helpful if you set things up and say, this is what I have to do. Like, we know she rode the 5.7 mile ride, but what are we going to do with that? Well, we have to follow that with the ride that's 5 2/3 times that. So I'm going to add that to this distance, kids ride plus adults ride. And so here's where we have our kind of mixed operations. We have to figure out what to do with these. So first, we need to have 5 2/3 times 5 7/10. Now 5 7/10 we can turn into a mixed number. And then you can turn both of these into improper fractions and see what we have that we can simplify. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. Hopefully you saw that. Then we have 57. Ugh, such an odd number. So then that leaves us with not much in the way of simplifying. 17 and 10 are not compatible, but what about 3 and 57? If 3 fits into 5, one time I have 2 left over, and 27 is divisible by 3. So I can cross cancel here, dividing 3 by 3 one time, and dividing 57 by 3, the 1, 9, 19 times, which I know it's still 17 times 19, but hey, that's better than 57 times 17 and then divided by 30, which is what we would have if we didn't simplify. So step out here to the side and do your multiplication, because we need that numerator. 9 times 7, 63. And then 7 times 1 plus 6, 13. And move down, hold the space with a 0, 1 times 9, 1 times 1, add 9, 10, 11, 12, and 3. So our new numerator is 323 divided by 10, which is really actually very easy. Remember, when you can leave the 10 alone, it's nice to leave the 10 alone, because 323 divided by 10 goes back to like Module 1, Lesson 2 or 1, where every number divided by 10 is just simply a shift in the digits. So this is going to be 10 times smaller, or the math people would say 1/10 the value of 323. So it's 3, 2, and 3. Remember, shift to smaller place value positions, or just place the decimal here instead of it being invisible here. So what did we just find? We just found the value of the long ride. Okay, so we didn't find the whole answer. We need to now add the 5.7 miles to the 32 and 3/10 miles. And that's all we have to do. But don't forget, when you add and subtract with decimals, you have to line them up. So be very careful to anchor the decimal. Not that you would make too big of a mistake here, but if you put the 5 and the 7 here, that would, of course, be tragic. So 7 and 3 is 10, carry the 1, decimal down, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 3. And so that is 38 miles altogether. See what I mean by these are tough? You really just have to kind of keep going. Set it up, figure out one part, figure out the next part. Multiple steps here. Okay. Next one. Oh, this one's great. Okay. 78,000, right. Sal bought a house for $78,524.60. I'm thinking this had to be like 1960. I don't know. That's a long time ago. 12 years later, he sold the house for 2 3/4 times as much. That's right. What was the sale price of the house? We have to multiply this by this. $78,524.60 over 1 times 2 3/4. Now, 2 3/4, because we know we're turning this into a fraction problem. And I have the potential to multiply with either fractions or decimals. If I was to do 8, 9, 10, 11 fourths, here is what my problem would look like for that. Okay, now I'm not going to stop you. I would start by dividing and simplifying and seeing how easy that was. The other thing you can do is you can take the 2 3/4 and you can look at the 3/4 as the fractional value of, remember when we did this a couple lessons ago? Scale it so that you can turn it into a decimal. So this mixed number can be a decimal. So there you go. Now, I totally don't care which way you solve it. If you want to multiply here and then divide by 4, you're welcome to do that. I like working with decimals because then it just becomes a matter of knowing your multiplication facts and setting things up neatly. So I'm going to do the multiply with decimals way. You're welcome to do any way you want, but just good luck keeping track. And if you did it this way, check each answer, and hopefully I won't blow it. 5 times 0, and then this is 30, carry the 3, and then it's 23. And then 10, 12, and 25, 26, and 42, and 35 and 4 is 39. All right, 392, 62300. Okay. Hold this spot because we're done here. Switch over to the next spot and start with your 7. 7 times 0, 7 times 6 is 42, carry the 4. 28 plus 4, 32. That's a 3 now. 14, 15, 16, 17, use the 1. 35, 36. 56, 57, 58, 59, and then 49 plus 5 is 54. So 5, 4, 9, 6, 2, 6, 7, 2, 2, 0, 0. We are all in business. And then we have the 2, so we're in the third place over. 2 times 0. 2 times 6 is 12, carry 1. Then we have 8 and 1 is 9, and nothing carried, so that's 4. And then that's 10, carry the 1. And then 16 and 1 is 17, carry the 1. And then 14 and 1 is 15. And so many numbers, but you should have 157, 049, 2000. Add these up column by column, and your numbers should be super, super neat. Don't make mistakes because your columns are all messed up. 2, 4, 6. Try to make 10s when you can. I'm just going to go with 16. 17, 18, 22. Carry the 2. Then we've got 10 and 14. 10 and 19. 7 and 7 is 14, and 1 is 15, 10, 11. And so our very huge number should be, count up your decimal places, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember that trick, okay? That's the shortcut way. And so now put your commas in so you can read the number. I knew the lights were going to go out because this is a long lesson. Put your comma in so you can read the number carefully. And this is money. What was the sale price of the house after 12 years? So $215,942.65. You would not read this with money because we only have pennies that go this far. So this here is the sale price of the house 12 years later. And hopefully you got that if you did this version with your multiplying and your dividing. But I know either way is probably just really ugly. It's a beast. Okay, let's do number 5. We're making good progress. In the 5th grade at, not sure how that's supposed to be, Lenape, kind of like escape. Lenape, I don't know, Lenape. Elementary school, there are 4/5 as many students who do not wear glasses as those who do wear glasses. If there are 60 students who wear glasses, how many students are in the 5th grade? Okay, this one's not that hard. You can do it. We're going to take our 60 that we know, okay, and they wear glasses. And then we have 4/5 of 60. This one's not too bad. Who don't? So if I was going to take my 60, and this is the wearing glasses, yes, and then we also have the kids who don't wear, and that's going to be a whole other group that is 4/5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have to break 60 into 5 parts. That's your divisor there. Then we would just put them together. So let's do it. 4/5 of 60. I'm going to simplify first. Multiply. 48 divided by 1 is 48. So 48 students are here. And so that's how you can kind of figure that out. Now, are we done? No. How many students are in the 5th grade? Not how many wear or don't wear. But we just need to put those together. And then we've got our total. And so that's actually not that bad. It's pretty straightforward, real visible, nothing ugly like that last problem with all those big numbers. Okay? Label carefully. And circle your answer. And we're finally at the last one. So this isn't too bad. Turn this though. Straighten it out. Oh, this one. Oh, this one is bad. Okay. Sorry. I don't mean to say it's a bad problem. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, let's just do it because it's going to take 10 minutes. At a factory, a mechanic earns $17.25 an hour. That's the mechanic. The president of the company earns 6 2/3 times as much for each hour he works. So we've got the hourly rate for the mechanic and the hourly rate that we don't know for the president. The janitor at the same company earns 3/5 as much as the mechanic as well. So we do know the mechanic, so we're going to use his number or her number. We don't know. How much does the company pay for all 3 employees' wages? Ooh, look at that possessive apostrophe there. For 1 hour of work. All right, we can do this. Do not panic. Do not panic. Mechanic earns $17.25 an hour. We know this, okay? The president is what we need to work on next. It's going to be 6 2/3 times 17.25. Now, I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but thirds is never going to convert to a nice equivalent decimal because it's going to be like 99. So we're going to turn this decimal into a fraction so we can actually get an exact number. So make this an improper fraction. 3 times 6, 18, 19, 20. Take a look at this. 17 and 25 hundredths. Now, who wants to multiply 100 times 17 and then add 25? I don't. What I would like to do is I would like to simplify this. Can you? Yes, you can. I'm going to take this and I'm going to make it an equivalent that is smaller. It's going to be 17 1/4. How can I do that? Because I can divide 25 by 25 and 100 by 25. And it has the same value. This is an equivalent fraction. So instead of using 17 25 hundredths, I'm going to use 17 1/4. So I'm taking a 17 1/4 and I'm going to turn that into an improper fraction. So 17 times 4, don't know that off the top of my head. 4 times 7, 28. And then 4 plus 2 is 6, but we have to add that one, so 69/4. And now I have something that's at least a little bit more manageable because I can cross cancel again over here with the 20/4. And I can cross cancel with the numbers that are also compatible with 3. So if I was to switcheroo, use the commutative property, 4 divides into 4 one time and into 25 times. And 3 divides into 3 one time and into 69 3 times. This is so much more manageable than having to multiply this whole big thing by 20/3. Now we only have one number, one set of numbers over 1. So it's super easy now. 23 times 5, 15, 10, 11. So we end up with 115 per hour for the president. 115. Last, we have our janitor, who earns 3/5 as much as the mechanic. So it's 3/5 of the $17.25. So 3/5 of the $17.25, which we know we can turn into 17 1/4, which we know is going to become 69/4. And there's not really any cross-canceling here because 3 and 4 are not compatible, and 5 and 69 are not compatible either. So we just need to multiply the numerators. 9 times 3, 27, 18, 19, 20, divided by 20, and do a division problem. And we have 1 and nothing, and then divide 70/10 by 20, 20, 40, 60, and then we have 10 left over, and go one more 0, bring it down, and I have 100 hundredths, extend a little bit, and divide the 100 by 20, which is 5. And I don't like my kids to leave it hanging there, so multiply all the way out and subtract all the way out. Now you have your 1035 per hour. And if you were careful when lining things up, then you have your decimals all lined up, and now all we have to do is combine all these, and then we're finished. 5 and 5. 10, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the final amount for the company to pay all of them per hour, mostly to the president, is $142.60 per hour for everybody. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful because I know these are super hard. So there you go, moving it around in case you couldn't see it, and come back again. We'll see you on another video. Bye for now.